All right, welcome back to PC Building Simulator Free Build Extreme. This is going to be episode 8. I am your host, JVN. I run the YouTube channel JVN Gaming, and I've been able to do a few different Free Build Extreme builds for you on the official PC Building Simulator YouTube channel. And today we are going to do another one. This is going to be a super RGB PC, so one big PC with a whole bunch of RGB inside of it. And we're going to do it all inside of this case, the Thermaltake View 91 RGB. It is big. It is very big. It's a super tower, and it's going to work quite well. We're going to be able to get a bunch of different RGB components in here to make this build very special, very special. But first, we're going to kind of pull some stuff apart and get it set up. So we're going to pull out all of these drive bays. We've got like, what, 6 of them or something here? So we can pull these 6 drive bays, and then we can pull out these actual brackets here that put them in place. The doors just swing open, the front and back, these big tempered glass doors. I cannot zoom out more in this. So this is very close, but I can't zoom out more. We're going to pull out the front panel, pull the dust filter, and we're going to remove the stock Thermaltake fans. They are RGB. They actually would be fairly appropriate. We're going to change them, though, just because we can, and because there's some other cool RGB fans we're going to check out. Take out the top of the case here, as well as the top dust filter, and that is pretty much the case stripped down. Now, around back, what you're going to find is these big horizontal fan mounts, fan or radiator mounts. We are going to use these, but to use them, we're going to take them out first. And then we're going to remove these 3.5-inch hard drive bays. They're a little hard to see just because of how black the finish is on this, but you can see them there probably, kind of, in the glistening in the sunlight. Not really. We're going to take all of these out because if I don't take these out, they're going to obstruct my ability to use those brackets. So now we've got those out, we can put our brackets back in. Our fan covers. Oh boy, that's not what I wanted. Fan cover? There you are. Oh, I think they actually are assigned. One is top, one is bottom. Interesting. And then there's the top one. Let's open this up again. Okay, so we got the case in order now, so we can start throwing actual components in. So let's start, of course, with our motherboard. We're gonna do TRX 40 for this, so we're going to do a 3rd gen Threadripper, but I am actually, the reason I want to do it too is because I never really get to do an XL ATX motherboard, which is basically the biggest motherboard you can find in the game. So this is a great opportunity to do it with a super towered case. Let's do it. We're going to use the Gigabyte TRX 40 Aorus Extreme, which of course is that TRX 40 socket, so that will support our 3rd gen Threadripper, which we can open up and get our CPU installed in. Let's go to 3990 because we can, because money doesn't matter, because this is a free build and we do whatever we want. It is a $3,990 CPU. The namesake is how much it costs, apparently. Ooh, it's expensive. And it's what, 64 threads? No, 64 cores, 128 threads? Yeah, insane, ridiculous. Yeah, let's get a little bit of thermal paste there on that while I'm thinking of it. We can also open up our drive base. We've got a total of 3 M.2 drives, pretty standard. Since we're doing as much RGB as we can, and by the book, I guess we should get some RGB 2.5-inch drives in here. Our choices are ADATA's XPG Spectrix, and it's just that. So that's our one real choice for RGB M.2 drives that fit under these heat sinks. I think there are some that won't fit under these heat sinks, but we can go all the way up to 2 terabyte with that, so it's pretty big. Get one there, one already in it, and a 3rd here for 6 terabytes of storage, M.2, NVMe, real fast, real good storage. Now we could have used those hard drive bays if we'd left them for 2.5-inch drives around back, and we could have done RGB 2.5-inch drives. We're not gonna do that because I need to use those brackets for water cooling. So, since cat's at the bag and we're doing water cooling, let's go to the CPU block, and I think we're going to go with the EK block because it's pretty bright, and it's actually got a really large lit section, so that's going to look pretty nice there. That will cool our Threadripper CPU quite well. Let's open up all of our memory clips, and then we can work on getting some memory in here. I always struggle a bit with which RGB memory to use. There are actually a few good options, but some of them, they don't look quite as bright as you'd hope, maybe. And that's actually true in real life, too. Like, I would love to put Trident Z Royal in this because it's just glam ridiculous, but it ends up being kind of dull because of that, that little diffuser over the LEDs. So we're not going to do that, actually. Trident Z Neo is a good choice. I guess we could do Transinio. I like it. It's nice. Let's do that. Transinio. That'll be a good looking kit there. We could mix and match different G-Skill memory. That would be fun. Kind of wanted to just put Gold Royal in here, but the RGB just doesn't pop like it needs to. So we will go with Neo. Trident Z regular RGB would also be a good choice. There you go. That's Neo, though. 3200 megahertz. So not the fastest RAM. They don't have super fast Neo in the game, but it'll be fine. It'll be fine for what we're doing. While we're down here, let's remove a couple of our PCI covers here to get ready for our graphics card. I think it's that one, and then maybe this one, but I can't remember. We can also get a power supply in. And we do have an RGB power supply we can put in here, and it's 1200 watts, which is good. We're going to need that. So this will have an RGB fan. You can kind of see, you can see the white there. That's the ring around the fan. There's not much RGB on it, but it's there. For principle, it matters. It's there. So we're going to go with it. We are going to do, like I said, we're going to do water cooling. The water cooling is going to be a little interesting, but we can get our reservoir set up. Now, I wanted to do the Ryzen Antilla D5 RBW, but it is an RGB reservoir, pump res combo, but it is not, it does not actually fill the lens of the reservoir with RGB lighting. It's a very subtle ring around the base, and so it's not really going to do what we want. But the Corsair XT5 will do what we want, and it'll look pretty good. I like, yeah, the black's good. It works, and it will. Well, you'll see when we actually turn this thing on. It will light up nicely. Now, yeah. So what's interesting here? We've got all this room on the top and the front, and even the bottom, and the single 120 mil fan mount in the back to do water cooling. We're actually not going to do any water cooling in these places because, well, we don't have any 480 rads that are RGB in the game yet. We just have the regular Corsair ones that aren't RGB, and so it won't really look exactly how I want it to look. And so, because of that, we're going to do regular case fans up here, and we're going to do our water cooling around back. But we are going to use RGB radiators because, principle. Again, we're not really going to see them. We're going to barely see them. But we're going to put them in here. So we're going to do eCase 360 RGB. We're going to do one down here, so we'll offset it to the left. The fittings are over here on the right side. So that'll give us easier access to those fittings. So we're going to do one on the bottom, and then we're going to do one up here. So there you go. We will see just a little bit of RGB peek up over the top of the tray here, but that's about it. And a little bit you'll see peek through the holes in the tray, but that's gonna be about it. But they're back there, and we know they're RGB, and they just barely clear. So we're gonna do that. The plumbing will be a little bit interesting to get it all hooked up, but it's super doable. So that's the plan. All right, let's get our graphics cards in, then we can get our case fans in, and then we can actually plumb up this system. So I'm a little conflicted on what graphics cards to go with. I actually want to see what a couple 3090s look like in here. I really want to see which bridge we get, because that's always the question. Which bridge am I going to get? Ooh, we're actually going to get a good looking bridge. So, knowing that, we might go with NVIDIA just because we don't have a bridge at all with the AMD cards. That bridge actually is going to look pretty good, I think. Let's do that. That's pretty nice. Okay, that's the plan. So that's going to set up. Let's get our case fans going. Case fans, we're going to do a lot of them. The good news is we're going to be able to daisy chain all of the case fans together. And for case fans, we're going to go with the Inwin Saturn ASN 120. That was actually added in the last update to PC Building Simulator, and they're pretty nice looking fans. So we're going to go with those. We can do one in the back. We can do a whopping 4 in the top. So we're going to put all these in. I'm so glad I'm to do this in real life because screwing fans in takes a while. And we're going to have a lot. So we're up to 5 now. 4 in the top, 1 in the back. We're going to do a whopping 5 in the front. Yep. We're going to do 5. I can't go down because this case is enormous. Oh, wait, did I say 5? I can't count. That's 4. Okay, 4 in the front. And then 3 in the bottom. I thought that was 5. Wishful thinking, I guess. 3 down here. So that'll be what, 11 total? Yeah, pretty good. 11 case fans. It's gonna be good. Let's see. Now, of course, we're going to need to cable everything up. We are going to need to plumb up the water cooling. We'll have some interesting options with the actual water cooling loop. We can do some fun stuff with that. We might try to do something a little more interesting with the water cooling loop, but let's get things hooked up. Now, as far as cables, we don't have RGB cables. There are RGB cables in real life. Ooh, am I going to have enough PCI? Ooh, 3090s. You need so many power connectors. I'm not gonna be able to do this. We only have 5 of them on this. Okay, you know what? We're going back to AMD. Oh, please don't. That was not what I wanted. Okay, it's fine. No, I'll just remove this too. Yeah, because AMD, I need cars that don't have the 3. Actually, there might be 3090s that only have 2, like the reference. What do I want? What do we want? We could do that. Let's do, what other 3090s we have? We need to find a 3090 that doesn't have 3 power. So we did the Strix ones. Those are definitely 3. The Ventus, I think, might only be 2. The reference will definitely only be 2. Let's see what the Ventus is like. All right, 2. That'll work. A minor snag, but we are back in business. Good. Okay. Now let's put back this PCI cover that I actually removed. Oopsies. Okay, cool. Nice. All right. As far as cables go, though, there are no RGB cables in the game. There are, like, in real life, like Leon Lee, I think, makes some, little, like, RGB cable extensions. There's nothing like that in the game yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if it got added. That'd be pretty cool. What should we do? Should we just do black? Should we do... I don't know what to do. Like, what do you bring out the RGB with? I don't want to distract from the RGB. So do we just do black? Maybe. Maybe that's the play. Oh, boy. All right, let's hook up our motherboard and then our EPS. We've got 2 connectors up there for EPS power, but we're only going to plug into 1. Got our 4 total 8-pin powers for our 2 3090s. Let's see. We can get the case hooked up to the motherboard, if I can click correctly. And then let's work on our daisy chain here. So we're going to start with our back fan to the motherboard. Then we're going to go top fan into the rear fan, and then we're going to daisy chain across. I'm so glad I can do this, because sometimes fan headers can be a real challenge. In real life, too. Let's be very clear. In fact, like on my actual computer in real life, like I have a fan splitter for a couple case fans because of this issue. So, but we're fortunate enough we can just daisy chain all of. You got to click very carefully, but you can connect all these fans together. So they are now all one gigantic string. Reservoir is going to go straight to the motherboard. We've got this rear radiator, which is going to also go to our rear fan. That rear fan is doing a lot of stuff is playing off of it. I'm not sure if there'd be adverse effects to that in real life. And then our bottom radiator is going to go straight into our motherboard. Okay, so with that, all of our cables are good. We're all hooked up there. And now we just need to go on and do the actual piping of the water cooling loop. So I'm going to work on that. The back radiators are going to be interesting. Actually, we should talk about this a little bit too. So as far as fittings go, there actually are Rgb fittings from Ragentech. They don't necessarily do a lot, but they are technically Rgb. So we're gonna use them because we're gonna, and then we're gonna go with clear rigid piping because it just ends up being the best. Okay, so the big challenge here is these rear radiators, but I like to connect the top one to the bottom one with a really simple run there. We're not really gonna see much here. This bottom one is gonna come back around and hook up with our reservoir. Ideally, this is a very tight fit through the motherboard tray here. So this can be a little bit tricky. Aha! Okay, I did a little nert and it worked. Okay, cool. So now we're gonna keep this fairly simple here. Can I snap maybe? Okay, there's my snap. Snip, snap, snip, snap. Okay, cool. We can remove this bend. we're going to keep this one fairly simple. But then we might do something more elaborate with one of these longer runs that we have. So we've got the GPUs hooked up together here, out the top GPU, and then straight up into the bottom fitting on the CPU block here. I like this CPU block because you can go straight up, straight down. It looks nice and symmetrical. But then we've got some freedom to do something weird, maybe with one of this connection back to the actual reservoir. We could do something we've got a lot of room in this case. So if if you feel so inclined, we can do something kind of obnoxious, actually, which I'm sort of gravitating toward. So what you can do here is you can kind of take this last loop, and you can, we've got lots of rooms, like we can run around and be sort of obnoxious. We can kind of frame like the interior a little bit even, which is sort of fun. Show off the whole space, I guess. So we can do some of these. I'm clipping because I'm, down there. We can come back around, kind of make like everything look a little more symmetrical. We could do a little thing around our reservoir. Really, the option is we could go back through the motherboard tray again and come back out. The options are endless. So I kind of like something like this. Like we kind of frame that reservoir back. We go back to the motherboard tray and then come back and around. So we get this like symmetrical out of the actual fittings on the reservoir, and then also sort of frame around it and frame the inside of the case. So it should look pretty cool, I think. Let's fill it with coolant and see if it does look cool. And there's only one color correct for coolant, in my opinion, for some reason, with RGB PCs, and it's pink opaque, because, So there you go. You go back around, go up and over, build a nice little outline around our reservoir, which actually I think is going to look pretty cool. So we're going to let this fill, because it's going to take a while, and then we can boot things up and see exactly how we're looking. All right, so there it is, powered off, but with everything all filled, all the coolant everywhere. The pink everywhere, looking beautiful, loving it. Framing the components there, we got the whole inside frame. The reservoir is all framed up, looking good. Symmetrical coming out of the reservoir, coming out of the CPU, and we've got just sneaking through the motherboard tray right there. We're just barely making it happen. We're making it happen to connect to that lower radiator, which is great. Now around back, the two radiators are connected vertically there, and then if you look up top, we just kind of boop right over the top of the motherboard tray to connect to the top fitting on the CPU with that top reservoir. Radiator, again, the radiator is the word I want. So yeah, everything's looking really good. Now, when you turn it on, it's magnificent, isn't it? Full rainbow mode, of course, as it should be with any super RGB PC. But yeah, it's definitely got some RGB, and you really can see those radiators shining through the motherboard more than I expected. It's quite nice. I do want to see exactly how our temps are doing. I was curious to see how those two 360 rads are doing at cooling our ridiculous Threadripper CPU and those two 3090s. Let's take a look at that. Let's see where we peak. 67 degrees on the CPU and less than 70 degrees on the GPU. So things are looking good there. Power draw is climbing, and that's fine. We're not going to hit the limit of our 1200 watt power supply there. But yeah, actually no issues cooling off our system. Those two 360 rads are doing a good job. And they're doing it with beautiful style. I'm only sad that we had to tuck them back there where they couldn't be seen as much. Now let's go ahead and complete the case. So we'll swing that back door shut. We've got dust filters in the top and the front. We've also got a top panel here. Now that does mute our RGB a little bit from the outside on the top, but it's not bad. And the inside, it looks great. It's what's on the inside that counts, right? Exactly. Front dust panel here and our front panel. And that actually shines through really well. And if we swing this door shut, it still looks good because there's really like no tint on that at all. So things are looking really good. That is what I call a super RGB PC. And it's all built inside of the Thermaltake View 91 RGB. I'm pretty happy with it. Actually, I gotta say, it is definitely bright and beautiful. But hopefully you enjoyed. And if you didn't join, you want to see more videos of PC Building Simulator, Free Build Extreme, be sure to subscribe to the official YouTube channel for PC Building Simulator. And thanks again so much for watching. I've been JVN, your host. And I'll see you guys in the next one. See ya.